That is healthy. Up down there. Okay, very good. Welcome, everyone. Here we are, August already, right?
Yeah, I know.
Before we know it, it'll be gone. So anyway, this is the Hudson 7 hybrid meeting, and thank you all for joining us here today at the Hudson 7 Drinking Water Council's hybrid monthly meeting. Today is Wednesday, August 14th. My name is Gary Bassett. I'm also the mayor of the Village of Rhinebeck and chair of the Hudson 7. Hudson 7's hybrid meeting will be streamed live on Hudson 7 YouTube as it is right now, and the public is advised to subscribe to this channel at any time to watch. Our in-person meetings occur here at the Poughkeepsie Water Treatment Plant, located at 3431 North Road, Poughkeepsie, New York. Public comment is always allowed, both in person and remotely. Please visit our website to learn how you can provide public comment by visiting www.7.org and visit the meeting page. I'm going to go around the room and on the screen for attendance, but in tonight, we have a quorum we've already established, and we'll start with on the screen in the upper left corner by our screen is Paul. Paul?
Yes, it's Paul Malmrose. I'm the engineering technical advisor to the Hudson 7.
Thank you, Paul. Lower right, Devin.
Hi, everyone. Sorry to not be with you in person. Devin Rigolino, Dutchess County, and Vice Chairman.
Lower left, Jonathan.
Good day. This is Jonathan Cherns of the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining. On the table to my right.
Hello, Nick Butler.
I'll let Rebecca.
I'm sorry.
Rebecca Martin, Source Water Protection Coordinator, Consultant.
Now you're here.
Well, you said right, so I figured. Nick Butler, Town of Silvis, or you want Water Superintendent?
Now,
Ann Shusha in town of Poughkeepsie.
Lynn Ruggiero, Secretary for Hudson 7 and Hyde Park.
Liz Mosqueda, Town of Hyde Park Councilwoman.
Richard Distel, City of Poughkeepsie.
Russ Gilmore, Town of Lloyd. Randy Allstat, Water Plant Administrator, Technical Advisor to the Hudson 7.
And I'm Donnie DeNogoli, Technical Advisor, here in Poughkeepsie Water.
thank you all. So, call order's been made. We have a quorum. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for our last meeting from July 10th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I
Thank you.
can't make any movements. I'm not on the board. Don't look at me.
I do all the time because you're just so
I used to
good.
do that, but I can't.
Yeah. All right. Do you have Elizabeth's report?
I do. So the treasurer's report, Supervisor Spinzi is out tonight. So as of July 31st, there's a balance of, can you hear me okay on there? Okay, $31,966.96. $6,258 was paid in July. We earned $67.67 in interest. The total interest to date is $727.75.
Thank you.
That's it.
I'd like to announce Emily Swenson, who has just joined us on the screen. Hello, Emily. And just an introduction for those that are on. Emily, introduce yourself.
Hi, Emily Svensson, Technical Advisor.
Thank you. Okay, Hudson 7 Source Water Protection Coordinator, Rebecca.
So I have my report, I sent it all out. Anybody have any questions or on any part of the report? Or I could review it, but it could be decided. If you don't have questions, we can move forward.
Good.
You good? Okay,
Worst people read.
it's posted on our website for the public to see too.
Rebecca, can you keep going with the communications, please?
Yeah. So we've got a bunch of communications. Dan Shapley's not here. This first one he wanted to speak to a little bit. There's a save the date for the Hudson River Watershed Alliance. And they're having their conference, their 2024 conference. And the topic is drinking water source to tap. And it's a whole date, Tuesday, October the 22nd. It's an all in-person event at the Henry A. Wallace Center, the FDR Presidential Library Museum. I don't know, Emily, if you have anything you want to say about that. You may not, so don't feel on the spot, but just in case.
No, I don't have any preview as yet, but I know that the committee's been working hard on the agenda and it's close by right in Hyde Park, so hopefully some of you can come.
Great. Yeah, and there is some talk, I think, about the Hudson 7 being on a panel, Gary, so maybe you'll get a call.
Okay.
Paul Melrose submitted a November seminar for water and wastewater operators and engineers and non-members. The Hudson Valley Waterworks Conference events. Paul, do you have anything to add to that? I did put a link for folks if they're interested. You're muted.
It's a very good conference and it's not very expensive and the operators could get their licenses and not that far away. So I think it's a good time.
So Paul, FYI, your communication is not the best right now. Is that speaker, are you close to the speaker?
Nice.
You're getting now.
No,
No,
About the same.
yeah,
might need a new mic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You must be in New Jersey.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
The Hudson Valley Regional Council reached out to us to see whether or not the Hudson 7 would like to be a panelist to describe the impact of Chippy on the Hudson River as a drinking water source and the steps that have been taken or will be taken to mitigate its impacts. Hudson 7 declined, but we did point them in the direction of the municipalities. So I don't know if any of you have heard from the Hudson Valley Regional Council. All right.
And our website, which
Yeah.
has, I don't know if anybody had a chance to go out to see what Rebecca did and posted out on our website. The timeline is impressive. That's all I'm gonna say. I want you to go look at it and you can just see for yourself. If you go to the blog on our website, you'll see a lot of really relevant
We
data.
did. That's why we did it. I wanted you all to see how much effort you
So
put
please
into
take,
the campaign.
please take a moment to review that.
Okay. Sorry. We received a communication from the office of Senator Gillibrand's office. An invitation for a virtual workshop on government resources for emergency preparedness and hazard mitigation on July 24th. Guess this is older, but do you know if the municipalities are receiving these invitations from Gillibrand's office? Because a lot of them seem more applicable for municipalities. Gary, are you getting?
I'll be honest, with you, I get so
I
many.
haven't gotten anything from Gillibrand all year.
I get a lot. So I don't keep track of them.
You don't. Would you like me to that they, add the municipalities to these types of communications?
Yeah, I haven't gotten anything from her.
Okay, I'll do that.
I get from Ryan.
And then there's a link to the blog post that Gary just referenced, the timeline of events, the Hudson 7 and the Champlain Hudson Power Express transmission cable, which just follows all the steps that you've taken since 2020. And then this is new and we can talk about it next month, but Eric Weinstock has been sending us information about the Dutchess County Fire Training Center. Updates in phase 3 and their sampling that looks like is about to begin. Emily, do you know the tributary or Devon that the Dutchess County Fire Training Center is nearby?
The Fallkill.
Okay. So next month, maybe that's in our old business, Gary, so
Mhm.
maybe folks want to just review it, maybe, I don't know. We'll see what you all want to do next month, and that's it. That's it for communications.
Thank you. I do not see anybody on for public comment.
No public.
Right, and move on.
Who's that person that just was here?
We can ignore her.
That's his wife.
It's my wife.
Oh.
Don't tell her I said that.
I won't.
Okay, old business. First is on the Hudson River PCB, the third year. Review, Randy and Dottie, you were both there.
Yeah, the CAG is a community action group or whatever, but it's an interesting group of people, mostly really big environmentalists that are not happy that this stuff's in the river and not happy that it's not all gotten out by now. And they're deciding on where to go. They pretty much don't want them to say, hey, we're done. They want to keep going and want to do more dredging. And they're trying to convince them that. But the EPA came back and said, we need to monitor fish for another year or two. So we're going to have a definite answer by 2027, but we're going to take more fish samples and get to see what the fish are looking like. It was very, a lot of questions, but a lot of repetitive stuff. Anything?
Any questions for them? Okay, thank you, guys.
So in B and C, so the Friends of the Clean Hudson, that's River Keeper, Scenic Hudson, and Clearwater are hosting a webinar tomorrow night at 6 p.m. There's a link to the registration in the agenda. And I'm sure it's going to be a deep dive into what's in the draft 35-year review. So it would be a really good webinar to attend if you're available. And I'm sure they're going to record it. So even if you sign up, they'll send the materials out so you can get the recording and watch it later. And then next week, the EPA is holding their virtual public information meetings. You know, it's not the CAG, it's public, and it's or the recent CAG. And they're also going to be doing the same thing, explaining their draft 35-year review. And there's a link to the registration in the agenda as well. That's it.
Okay. Rebecca, do you want to take us through what's happening? Just we posted, everybody should have got the feedback from EDI on what's going on the river. But here's a review of it. We can go through each one of these if you want, if there's any questions, but do you want us to read it? You would like to read everyone into the record?
I don't know.
Well, since we're recording this, why don't we just read
it to the record?
Read it into the record so it's recorded.
Okay, so I'll start on the most recent item on August the 6th. The PSC issued a notice to proceed for the Cement and Stony Point Hudson Marine Segment 19B. There's two segments. So the segment that's this Cement and Stony Point section that's up in our neck of the woods has been approved for construction. Next year, Chippy will have to do the same for the lower portion of 19B. On July the 28th, we got a 24-hour courtesy email through the Hudson 7. The municipalities also should have been alerted by phone. And they did what we asked them to do, which is great. They sent us a courtesy 24-hour construction notice for Poughkeepsie. For Lloyd Island. And Adam was not included on that, so I forwarded it to him and made sure that they had his contact info.
Okay.
Also on the 28th, we got another 24-hour construction notice regarding Poughkeepsie. And I forwarded it on to city and town leadership, so to Rebecca, Supervisor Edwards, and Mayor Flowers. On July 29th, there was an open house in Kingston. The maritime team at Chippy Cable Construction and Installation gave a presentation. Nick was there with Supervisor Freer. I went. Don't know, Nick, if you have anything, any insight, any reflections on that or not.
Not necessarily. They really, they meaning the Chippy reps, they really kept it on their talk back and their PowerPoint presentation, which I wasn't at the last open house in Northern Point here in Dutchess County. So apparently it didn't go at, that good of a direction that they really kept people on track this time around. So it was good. The questions that really didn't pertain, they entertained them for a little while, but then they were not shy about letting folks know this has been approved for this many years, so on and so forth. And we're here talking about cable install. So yeah, it was good. It was a good PowerPoint. I've referred to it a couple times.
Good. Great, and then on the 25th of July, we got another courtesy 24-hour construction notice for Rhinebeck. So you can see two in parentheses in these notices when they were planning to go down the river. So in this case, it was July 26th, so they gave us a heads up the day before. On the 17th of July, notice for construction. So this was the main notice from the Public Service Commission saying that they were moving forward on the 17th. And also on the 17th, we were able to get suggestions to all the to the leadership, municipal leadership, to distribute to the water treatment plants, suggestions on for water operators in case if they wanted to request sampling, post and pre and post construction that Paul worked really hard on. And it was an excellent suggestion document and a draft letter to help with comments. And then the 16th was a Chippy pre-construction meeting that I think municipalities attended. And Gary shared the slide deck, which is in your source materials. That's it.
Have they started putting cable down in the river anywhere? Yeah, they're supposed to be playing from Catskill.
Nah, not yet. So I talked to, I'm just writing her number down now, Sabrina Taylor, who's the female that actually gave the presentation at Kingston. So she's the point of contact that has been reaching out to the various municipalities. I was expecting them to be on or around the 15th on schedule this month. So she said they're pushed to the right about 5 days. So more like maybe around the 20th. Which would make sense because we never received the 7-day out window call.
Yeah.
Begin with, yeah. So we anticipate receiving that call soon and that'll let us know.
You haven't heard anything
Well, the only thing
other than the mattress thing.
They're just putting the blankets down now, right?
Yeah,
That's all they're doing right
but the
now.
blanket
Right
is,
now, but they're supposedly gonna put the cable down this
Right.
month.
Oh,
So they
since they did the drag, they did the grapple
Cable
drag,
installation here right now for August, so.
the mattresses, wherever they were needed is done in our section. So the way I understand it,
Yeah.
and now the cable
I saw them out there working today.
is done, but they didn't drag in front of us, which is what they said they would not do.
Correct.
And
Wow.
Okay.
no, I mean, not anywhere in front of us.
But it says they're gonna start construction August through
Yeah.
September,
Yeah,
and we're already halfway through August.
not in the AOR, not our responsibility. So
Okay,
Yeah,
just in the notes.
the boat came through,
okay,
Yeah,
but
good.
it wasn't using the grapple hook to our knowledge.
I double check that, but good.
That's my understanding. Don't know for sure, but it was chugging along pretty quickly through our area and it didn't look like there was any operation going on. We watched it.
Well, it's not supposed to be near the intakes, but I did think that it was a quarter mile from the intakes. So I don't think that they're not coming down the grapple hook.
It's already been through.
Yeah. Paul, what is your recollection with the grapple hook that Sean has agreed to or that TDI agreed to? Quarter mile.
Takes.
Yeah.
If it's dropping, if it's dropping, if it's not used, join pilot test that week. Again,
I've never seen two times.
It's Klingon.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, moving on. Michael's not here, so I don't think we have an update on our committee report back from the last meeting of the DOH, right? Anybody have any updates?
Yes, we do. So I just want to, yeah, Dan's not here either.
Right.
So, sorry, I didn't have this ready because I thought Dan was going to present. I was at the last DWSP2 meeting. The committee is getting ready to submit the report up to the state, get approved. They are, we asked if DOH and, which is Mike Forging and Paige, and if the DOH and Riverkeeper would present the plan to the Hudson 7 before sending it up to the state. So that's something that could happen in September if schedules allowed, and I think we should see it before they send it up, even though when the DEC approves it, it's still in draft form, so there's time to make changes to it. So I think that's the plan. They're working that out right now. They have a management team that they need to assign someone to help to lead and, coordinate between the Hudson 7 and then DWSP2 committee. And they asked if I would take on that role. So there needs to be a motion made to appoint me as the PMT. I'm sorry, the acronym, no, I can't get online. This is the problem. Who's here that would know what PMT is?
It's a project management term.
Yeah.
I forget.
I can't remember what it is, but essentially, if the council wants, I don't mind taking that on, and that would just become part of my work plan in the coming months.
What I remember from years ago, being a past involved in that's a certification.
Yeah, but it's actually a term, and like I said, I wish Dan was going to be here to speak because Mike couldn't be here.
But to be a PMP, you have to be a
PMT. PT.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll find it. I'll try to get online and find it, but there does need to be, they need to write this into the plan.
Okay.
Have the person who's coordinating be noted in the plan. So if you want, I can go and find the exact language so you can make a motion.
I'd rather have that.
Definitely. So I'll go and get online and try to pull that up. The other thing is, in the final update, is that once the report goes to the state, we thought it would be a good idea to offer the municipalities and the counties an opportunity to get the same presentation, to try to bring everybody along with the plan that we have. And so what will happen is we'll be in September sending out the PowerPoint and the video of the presentation, and with a letter to invite you to speak to your boards, your trustees, your council members, your legislators, and see if they'd like to invite us to come in and give the same presentation, so we can have everybody's support right from the get-go. So that'll be great. So that's where we're at. And so I'll look for the term and we'll come back around.
Okay, because what I came up with was project management team.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have a team of one?
She's the coordinator.
Wow.
Hudson 7 and.
Right, I know.
Yeah, so happy to do it. It makes sense. It's good to, we're segueing out of Chippy. I'm happy to start doing some new projects.
I'll make the motion to appoint Rebecca Martin as the PMT.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're not gonna get any more money though.
I'm happy. I'm happy. Letters of support. So we just under the DWSB two, we provided a letter of support to the town of Lloyd. Neil Curry, who is working on a grant with the Hudson River Watershed Alliance. For their watershed characterization project. So we got that to Neil.
Okay.
And then a letter of support, an amended letter of support for Riverkeepers Grant on their proposed water quality monitoring project. And today we were contacted by the city of Kingston for another grant that they're doing on stormwater through the EFC, Environmental Facilities Corp. So we turned around a letter of support for that grant, which is in line with all of our support for Kingston. So it's nice to be able to do that. That's it.
Might as well keep going. Let's talk about the water treatment plant.
Yeah. All right. So we met last month, the committee with Nick and Randy, and Dottie and Paul and I. And the committee we did a survey, we sent out a survey asking water treatment plant staff what sort of educational opportunity that's unique to the Hudson as a drinking water source would they be interested in? And we got 11 people to respond, which I think is pretty good. Well, we initially had 9, and then the committee decided to recirculate it with a letter and a fact sheet and to try to bring more people along. And we ended up with 11 participants. And with the recirculated survey, and now we've done a report. It's a draft report because the deadline for participation is tomorrow. That the committee has the report just to look at in draft form and see how they feel about it. We'll share, but it looks like we have an opportunity, an educational opportunity. We can talk about it next month. Maybe something that Randy can teach here at the Poughkeepsie Water Treatment Facility, and then we'll just have to figure out the timing. But anyway, we'll talk more about it next month. Maybe Randy and Nick and Paul and Dottie want to speak more about it then when we have something for you all to look at.
Okay.
Anything else to add?
No, that was a good summary.
Okay, Randy,
No.
Dottie, Paul? No. The other thing is that we are talking with Hyde Park, Jonathan, and working with Mike Keating to try to get a tour of the Hyde Park plant in October, which we're all really looking forward to, and that would be an opportunity for the water treatment plant operators and staff to meet with you all. So we're looking forward for that.
We're looking forward to having you on the tour. I know they're working out the dates, so that'll be something that we can talk about offline, but we're excited to have you out there.
Thanks, Jonathan. So, great moment. That's it.
We have the Lower Sopas Creek. Paul, it's gonna be difficult. You're
Get really close to the microphone, Paul.
I think it's just.
yeah.
Or is it okay?
Well, that's better.
I got off and came back on, so we'll see what happens.
Maybe talk
Yeah.
slow and,
And don't move.
yeah.
Don't move.
So tonight I'm asking the Hudson Seven to come on board with a letter that is written to DC about preventing floods this September in New York City shuts down their aqueduct. Already we have the Catskill Mountain people, a lower circuit advisory council, and the lower circuit watershed partnership, Riverkeeper, and the Catskill Mountain Trout Unlimited. All agreed to sign this letter, and I'm hoping that the Hudson Seven will also be one of those signatures. So the purpose of this letter is really to request help from DC to prevent flood when New York City DEP shuts down the Delaware Aqueduct, which is leaking 36 million gallons a day, which if you, just to put it in perspective, 36 million gallons a day would provide all the water needs of both Dutchess and Ulster County. And it's been leaking since 1980. So we're not looking to stop the project, delay the project. We know it's important because the Delaware that provides 50% of the water to New York City, 9.5 million people. So it's a very important project. However, I might ask, why can the Hudson Seven be concerned about it? As I mentioned a couple of meetings ago, floodwater is infectious diseases. It contains hazardous chemicals, sewage, raw sewage, gasoline, oil, and mud. I mean, every time you hear a talk about it, people always say, do not walk in floodwaters. Of course, people do, but they always say that. So why is there a flood threat in September? And normally, New York City has a reservoir of about 80% after the summertime water demand. But this year, what they're doing is they're filling it up to maximum capacity and using the other reservoir. So when they shut down the Delaware, that's the system, the Ashokan reservoir will be providing the water. Not going to be for about an 8-month period. Also, going to be getting water from the curtain. So, what we're concerned about is, as I said, normally the reservoir is at about 80%. It will be almost filled to maximum capacity. Now, when that has happened in the past, like when we had hurricanes, I didn't even know we had significant flooding. But when it was about at 80%, and we had Henry and Ida, there was no flooding. So the void in the reservoir is extremely important to prevent flooding. And recent flood studies by FEMA assume that the reservoir never spills during a major storm, and that's totally untrue. It almost every flood is associated with a spill from the reservoir. New York City did a EIS on this and analyzed and said flooding would not be a problem, but they never even mentioned the word hurricane in their EIS. So they totally disregarded that requirement. As we know, because of climate change, we're seeing more frequent floods, more frequent hurricanes. NOAA has predicted this is going to be the worst year ever. And I'd say that we only had 2 so far, but we never really had a flat category 4 hurricane in June like we had this year. And most hurricanes happen in September, just when New York City is going to fill this reservoir to near capacity. So what we're asking New York City to do, asking DEC to ask New York City to do, is to maintain the reservoir at no higher than 90% starting in September 1st and stay that way at least until October 15th. We're also asking them to maximize the void if a hurricane is approaching. Like if it's within 5 days, we would really like them to start maximizing the void. We also want that DEC requests DEP to participate in any training exercises that we have. And we're asking for very accurate information about the status of the reservoir, the water coming out of the reservoir, and what the elevation is. So, as I said, I am just really kind of concerned about it, mainly because the damage that we've just seen in upper New York State. I think we were very lucky this time that we weren't hit by Debbie. So I'm asking for your support, and if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
So Paul and I have discussed this often. And the report has been modified to address drinking water issues. And the report has been modified to address things for Riverkeeper. But Paul, to my knowledge, Riverkeeper has yet to sign on. Is that correct?
They have agreed to sign on today.
Oh, they did. All right. I have not seen that response back. So the last where I left this is that it's been difficult to get people to want to endorse this letter outside of our organization in Ulster County and other places. Because they want, it's a relationship that needed to be maintained, and B, they didn't want to do anything to disturb the relationship as they were going forward if, with another cause, because they wanted to work it out. But what I committed to Paul, with your approval, if we could get Riverkeeper and the other organizations to also endorse this letter, I would bring it to the board for approval here.
You all got it. It's a late agenda item, so that draft, that's the draft letter. Also just want to acknowledge that Amanda Laval is here from the county, who's tuned in, and Emily has her hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I didn't get to hear everything Paul said. I'm sorry, it's a little tough today. But I just wanted to, raise to the group and remind everyone that we've made a policy of only commenting on things when they have a strong connection to the drinking water, because otherwise we get pulled into things, all over up and down the river. And so I just would personally, I haven't quite understood the strong connection here between this issue and our drinking water. So I would just, raise that to the group as something to consider for consistency.
So Paul, in the letter, Emily, so first of all, Paul, just as a reminder, is our representative on the Ashokan Reservoir Working Group, represents the Hudson 7 of the area. Is signing this letter as a resident of Saugerties. But in the letter, there is a paragraph that does talk about flooding, Emily, and impacts of flooding to water quality. And it's in paragraph 4 that I just highlighted just to make sure everybody saw that connection. So did you happen to see that section, and was that enough of a connection for you, or did you see it and you have concerns still?
I did see it, and I'm not the technical expert on this, so I don't want to, really give an opinion, but, we've had other people make a connection that some potential pollution up near, Albany might affect our water, anything in the entire watershed could affect our drinking water, but I'm just not sure on how significant this potential impact is. I'll leave that to others, but I just wanted to raise it.
I think it's a follow-up though to what we happened on December 2 years ago, when there was a high flow out of the reservoir and it created a mud flow down the river and increased the sludge that we had to produce significantly. So it did affect us.
You're talking about the Christmas storm 2021.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was turbidity rates went through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of mud. Right. So when it came from there.
And you can see the mud at the output of the roundout still from that storm. And in the overview shots that are there. So not only is it the turbidity, but now it's also when you flood, it floods over the riverbank, it's over the stream banks, and whatever's on those stream banks comes back into the river, whether it be gas, oil, chemicals, or whatever. So there's additional contaminants added in a flood stage that could be not diluted enough to impact into our plants. So I think it is to the level where it should be addressed. I'm concerned that other municipalities don't want to log into this and wait and try to do this, that Paul's up there as a resident and only as a resident fighting this battle and not getting the support that is needed from municipalities. So that's the part that concerns me, because I don't want to disrupt, again, our relationship with them as well, because it's a fine balance here in the river to maintain. But I do believe the issue that Paul raises is an impact.
Right, and the connection that Randy raises, that we've been following this for a long time.
Yeah.
Because of that problem. And Catskill Mountain Keeper, River Keeper, the Lower Soaps Creek Advisory Council of the Lower Soapus the Lower Soapus Creek Advisory Council, the Lower Soapus Watershed Partnership and River Keeper are all signing this letter that you saw today. And I see Amanda is off camera now with her hand raised.
Hi. I haven't had a chance to look at the version of the letter that was shared today, but I just want to kind of add some commentary. So this is really not, just kind of information and kind of some of the things that I've learned over the last month or month and a half. One is that, there is a new interim release protocol. And again, I haven't checked the letter today, but I think there is a new protocol which just as of the beginning of July came into being. And from DEC standpoints and some conversations I've had there with DEC, there's some interest in following the protocol as it's been newly revised versus changing it or having a deviation from that. Because that protocol is meant to the best extent they can, both look at the water supply and maintaining the availability of water that they need in the reservoir, and then also looking at void in order to provide some protection and flood attenuation to minimize those events, which, we're never going to create zero risk downstream of the reservoir and of the dam, but to minimize those risks over time. So there's some, from DEC standpoint, desire to follow the new protocol, which was recently updated as of July. So that's kind of one lens of looking at it. Another is looking at basically historically where we've been as far as voids in the reservoir versus the proposed operating protocol, the IRP, as we come into and anticipate the shutdown period. So there's some nuances there as far as, what are we really talking about as additional incremental risk with the shutdown, and, what is the best way? Is it better to kind of follow the IRP as it was newly revised, or is it, or should we be looking at waiving that in this scenario kind of almost right off the bat? So we'll just share that because that was something I learned from DEC.
Amanda, has everybody reviewed the new IRP and because the DEC and the DEP crafted it without input, right? So has everybody had a chance to look at it and feels comfortable with it? Sure, we're talking about it just for context.
I'm happy to, quickly kind of recap the high level changes with the new IRP are that the city is no longer limiting themselves to only releasing water from the West Basin to the Lower Soapus. They're willing to be flexible and to release water from the East Basin or the West Basin. The East Basin is basically their clean water basin, the West Basin being the settling basin. So when they've done the modeling with that kind of change in the baseline scenario of now saying that they can use either East Basin or West Basin water, what they're showing is that even after storm events, they think they will be able to majority of the time release high quality water that's under 20 NTUs, where it's not having a big visual difference to the folks downstream. For example, in December of 20, it must have been 22, 21, the Christmas storm, that was way over 150 NTU for a prolonged period. So they are seeing that they would be able to release high quality water while also maintaining actually more flood attenuation capacity than they have historically. So again, by changing their baseline scenario of being willing to waste either East Basin or West Basin water, it has some beneficial results for how they can manage downstream.
Thank you.
If that's helpful.
That is helpful.
What?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I have to say that the IRP does not address flood attenuation or flood control. Basically, what it's doing is hoping that they'll provide better quality water. And we, in our letter, congratulate them for actually doing that and working with all these groups. It only took about 11 to 15 years to get New York City to make that change. So I don't think asking for lowering the reservoir to 90% is going to either affect the amount of water the city needs, and it'll provide us with some flood protection. If Debbie had hit us the way it hit Western New York or a Beryl, we would be talking about flood damage right now. And that's the one thing I want to avoid.
What would you all like to do?
I agree with him.
So, Paul. Consensus? As an informational letter to send as a result and sign as a Hudson 7. I'd like to make a motion to sign the letter as representation for the Hudson 7 for it to be sent.
So moved.
Any other discussion?
I'd like to kind of add into that discussion. A similar letter was presented to the county, and we are not comfortable at this time sending that under county letterhead. I think there are some nuances when it comes to whether or not there is any flood attenuation with the IRP that are important. There are. Again, the IRP is meant by design to balance water supply reliability for the city of New York with some seasonal storm voids for downstream communities. So that is in some ways built into the IRP. So just to add that.
One thing I'll say about that is I've sent this letter to the county in early May. I have never received one single comment or suggested revision to the letter. I am willing to work with the county. They would be a tremendous asset, but they just don't want to respond to me. So I don't know what else to do.
Paul, is there a deadline?
Gary, the high intensity storm period or hurricane starts on August 15th. What's that, tomorrow?
Yeah.
And the peak usually is around mid-September. I know everybody's going to say it's from June 1st to November 1st, but the most intense period is from August 15th to October 15th.
We have a motion, we have a second.
If I may, just one additional
Sure.
Thank you. I would just, there was in the conversation I had with staff, with the reservoir release manager at DEC, he reiterated that the city of New York is attempting to operate their system as close to kind of quote unquote normal as possible through this time. They're not making any big deviations in amounts, releases, draws, etc. across the system. That's because until they get up to that shutdown time, there's a go, no go decision. So they have, decided that up until that go, no go decision, they're not really going to deviate from their protocol or from their operating standards. So there's not a comfort level for operating the system kind of differently than they normally would. Again, they're trying to be, they've had 2 years in which they have not been able to shut down for various conditions. And it's even though they're really looking at this year being the year, it's not a given. So they again are trying to, maintain that kind of normal operating protocol, which again would speak to why you wouldn't draw down the Ashokan to 90% in September versus the mid-October target. All of this information in the IRP will be reviewed again eventually in the ongoing environmental impact statement process. That is when there'll be another process to vet all these different options of the IRP. That's it. Thank you.
We're talking about this September. We're not talking about any other time period. Right now, as Amanda said, they agreed to operate according to their operating procedure. And right now, they are above the percent that they should be. So they're going in the wrong direction right now because the reservoir is filling pretty significantly after we had the rain from last year. So already they're not complying with the IRP that they said they would.
I don't see a problem with alerting them to the risk.
Yeah, I support it. I support the letter. I think it's something, it's not directing them to do anything, but he's made very good points in there and very concerns.
And it's a request.
It's just a suggestion.
Yeah, right. I think it makes sense.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, Paul, I'll sign.
And thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on. New business. Eric's not here tonight.
No, he couldn't make it.
Next month. This came up before. Here's the issue. In our bylaws, the bylaws said we can have 9 technical advisors. We are at 9 today. To appoint another one to do that requires either somebody to come off as being a technical advisor or to amend the bylaws to allow it to grow. Having somebody like Eric, what I've been convinced is could be valuable to the committee to provide input. So we have that little dance we have to make. In response to that dance, on our technical advisor list, I have my chief water plant operator, Brian Alex, who is, everybody knows, is valuable in input, but as a technical advisor, his input is really at the water plant level, which we have Randy for, and we have Nick here for. So I'm questioning the need for having a third person in that capacity, especially as we're trying to build a water plant committee and have that grow and have people participate in that. So I met with Brian and made the suggestion if he would be willing to have his name removed so that we could open capacity to add another technical advisor. He agreed.
Yep.
So with that, I would like to make a motion, 2 motions. The first motion is to remove, not wholeheartedly, but in a way that we can still continue to use Brian Alex as the Village of Rhinebeck water plant operator in another capacity as a technical advisor from our current list.
Second.
Discussion.
I think that the technical advisor role is to be input throughout the meetings and he hasn't been to any
Correct.
meetings. And anyway,
And have an expertise in.
yeah, I mean,
particular field.
it sounds good that, and he still can, he still can provide input. He can come, the only thing a technical advisor does is it gives us a seat at the table. You know, we don't have to sit on the corner over there. You know, I mean, that's what I saw. And that's when I first brought it up, that I wanted to be a technical advisor because.
But your input is valuable
I know.
because of
I know.
because of the
I understand it.
expertise.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking
And-
for is a
and I
team,
think that's
a
good.
team of expertise.
Yeah.
All right.
And Eric is a hydrologist, geologist, which is a
Mhm.
great skill set at Hopkins Council.
All right.
And
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So approved. Number two, I'd like to make a motion to approve Eric Weinstock as a professional geologist as a Hudson 7 technical advisor to fill the vacancy that we currently have.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Done. All right.
Thank
Okay, we're gonna move on. Addressing old business items. We're gonna put together a task force group to be able to do that. I think I asked for names last time. I don't have a list of names. I still like to sit down with some people and go over that list. Because there are some things that maybe we should either keep or now take off the list. All right, so I'm gonna table that till we can be able to do that. Okay? Anything else anybody would like to add? With that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
So.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I gave you back 3 minutes. You owe us 8 now.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.